Good morning.
Mike, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Just start with you activating the 21-day window on anyone and just kind of the health overall curse and some other guys.
Yeah, definitely. James Washington will be practicing today. He was just in the walkthrough, so I know he's excited to get out there and get going. So we'll see where James is.
And Tyron Smith, kind of follow up. Any better indication of where
he's getting close. Yeah, getting close, but he will not be activated today.
Clarence Silver, Star Telegram. Can you talk about the decision with Terrell Basham and what you have at defensive end, and what does that mean for Tack McKinley or someone else?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just think it come down. Obviously, Bash has given us a lot of quality football the last 2 years. Had the injury, and this is. It's a catch-22. I mean, you're in a roster position with guys that are getting healthy, but you have 53 spots. So I just think it really came down to numbers and in trying to forecast what's in front of us.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Mike Todders with ESPN. James Washington was banged up in the off-season program. Obviously, first padded practice, he goes down. What's realistic to expect of how he can help you guys?
That's an excellent question. I think really just until we see him go through the whole practice today. I mean, obviously, James has a lot of tape, from his time in Pittsburgh, and we still feel the same about him as why he's here. But just really want to see him work. Obviously, he'll work primarily on the look teams today, and we're looking for more quantity, from him. Just get his workload capacity up where it needs to be, and just let him out there and get some live reps.
Yeah.
Mike, Haley Sutton, DallasCowboys.com. Malik Hooker obviously facing his former team coming up on Sunday. Being as though you've kind of been through that experience with Green Bay, how do you keep him grounded and focused on playing Cowboys football and just the impact that he's made on your defense this season?
Yeah, definitely. I think for Malik and just any of us to go through that, I think that's something you acknowledge earlier in the week, and at the end of the day, this is opponent Wednesday, and you're dialed into the specifics of what goes on to win what goes on in the preparation to win this game, and I know that's where Malik is. I mean, obviously, it's been quite some time since he was there, but I think this is a normal process a lot of us go through. That's our league, but our real focus is the fact that we haven't played this team. I think there's a lot of new faces from the last time these two teams lined up and competed. So and obviously we're spending more time starting back on Monday on the personnel part of it, and just make sure we're acclimated. I mean, the scheme is at this point in the year there's not a lot of surprises. I mean, this game will really be stressing the fundamentals and the footwork and and the finish, because that's the type of game this will be.
And then just to follow up on that, when you look at the injuries that he's had, he spoke about it with us on Monday. He's had every major injury in the book and is still out there playing. Can you just speak to the resiliency that he has and how he kind of fits that mold of the theme you guys have this year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he emulates exactly what you're looking for. Obviously an incredible athlete. I mean, he's his ability from the middle of the field and still to come down and be the forceful player in the box. I mean, he's just has been money for us the last 2 years. So obviously a big part of how we want to play back there. And but sometimes you see players go through injuries that come one after another, and that was unfortunate for him. But I go back to when he arrived last year in training camp. He's come a long way. I mean, just the rehabs that he's been through, and but he's his style of play. I mean, he's always going to be dealing with something, because it'll his tackling ability out of the middle of the field has been exceptional this year. So he's got great ball skills. So, but yeah, it speaks volumes to Malik, about Malik.
Thank you. Christy Scales, Cowboys Radio. When you turn on the tape of the Colts offense and look at Jonathan Taylor, how do you describe his skill set and style?
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Taylor actually, I think I've been to 2 college football games in the last 30 years, and that was one of them. I had a chance to watch him play when he was at Wisconsin against Iowa, and just his ability to run inside with the discipline and toughness, and then he also has the ability to finish runs. So I mean, I think he's a dynamic runner. I think he's definitely, because once again we haven't played haven't played these guys, so we're spending extra time on him in the run game. But I think he's definitely a featured back, and I would not be surprised if he carries it north of 20 against us.
Follow up on that, they have a new coordinator, a new play call that doesn't have a lot of experience or track record that you can look at. So how does that affect? Do you have to expect the unexpected?
Oh, you always do. I mean, it's play expect the unexpected and also the uncommon opponent characteristics, and that's really our focus. And I think it's just like anything, you got to really dial into the concepts and the variations that come off of it, and just trust the numbers. It's play calling. A lot of it is which way you tilt and push the play calls. Particularly by situation, that's not going to change regardless of who's calling it. So, but just really how they're featuring their players. That's because at the end of the day, you get to this point in the year, the footwork, the scheme, the fundamentals. Those things are heightened, especially the physical attributes of how you win football games. So I mean, there's not a whole lot of surprises when you get into December. I mean, it's always a variation of something you probably have already seen.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Ball security has been an issue for the Colts, and how much does that surprise you, considering you have a veteran quarterback in Matt Ryan?
Well, I mean, looking at Matt's path this year, he's obviously played and then he didn't play, and then now he's back. So I mean, there's definitely, I think some of those things tie into it. But yeah, I mean, I'm more focused on our ball protection. It's something that we put a lot of time into, protecting it and taking it away. So I mean, takeaways are always at a priority for us, regardless of who we play, and that'll be no different Sunday night. But we got to take care of the football, because this defense does. This is a defense plays a lot of vision. They do a good job. They're disciplined and play into their leverage, the fast reactors and things like that. So we got to make sure we really do a good job protecting the football.
Michael Gelkin, Dallas Morning News. This is your first practice since last Thursday's game, the first chance to have more pointed on the field emphasis on the pre-snap penalties that you've been talking about and focusing. What does that emphasis look like in practice today? And the false starts that were happening, a lot of them were after injuries, after some sort of break in the action. How does that factor into the team's thinking on how to rectify it?
Well, I think like a lot of things. I mean, we don't wait till today to emphasize it. I mean, it's part of our practice structure. In the area of cadence and communication, where it really falls under, and it's things I've talked about on a daily basis. Your pace of operation is critical, because it also is critical to your success in the practice realm, because those are the things that carry over to the games, and those are things you can get done in a walkthrough. So we don't need to go to practice to be better at the pre-snap. I mean, pre-snap's something that we're totally focused on in the meetings. There's a lot of pre-practice work and a cadence, quarterback center exchange, which we actually do with the whole offensive line. So these things are all in place. We just need to be better at it. So, and we've looked at every one of them, and and more about the what and the why. And it's just like most things in this game, especially pre-snap, it comes down to communication.
You categorize why we had a false start here, why we had a false start there, just the way you do with interceptions?
Absolutely. I'm not giving it to you. It's top-notch stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
David.
We've mentioned so much over the course of the season about the way Mike is playing and DeMarcus Lawrence, but you speak to Dorrance Armstrong, what he's given you this season, and how much of this offseason you wanted him to be a part of this going forward, just how you...
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Dorrance is someone obviously I didn't know much about. I mean, he came out of KU, but was a young player when I first arrived here in 2020, and was primarily looked at as a special teams player. But, I mean, every opportunity he was given, at the open defensive end, I mean, he just has been productive, and I think he took a whole nother step last year. And to me, he's a kind of a poster child of what you're looking for. I mean, you talk about draft and develop. I mean, you want to see a young player come in here and grow each and every year, and then obviously the second contract is huge for us, because I mean, that's all part of the draft and develop process. So I mean, he has been, the point I'm making is he has been a very consistent player every time he's been given opportunity. So now obviously he's playing, pretty much in a starting role capacity as far as a mindset. But I mean, he's so consistent, has a great motor, just his ability to make plays, whether it's blocking punts or second and third reaction. He's as good as a defensive player that we have on our roster.
over the past 4 games, you guys have been highly successful on third down. Your success in early downs has been a part of that. What do you think the difference has been on those early downs?
I think the biggest thing, you've already said it, it's the early down production. I think the ability to run the ball, our attempts at the plate, how we're running it and as often as we're running it is part of that. And obviously that's going to be a big focus for the Colts coming in here. But yeah, there's no secret. Third down success is usually, a lot of it is contribute to what you do on first and second down. I think that's obviously been important for us.
Washington's been nicked up since offseason. How much do you have to kind of keep him involved in everything so he won't get down on himself that there is light at the end of the tunnel?
Oh yeah, no, I think it speaks volumes to the return to play process. I think our medical staff and it's just not how they do it, but it's it's the personal connection they have with the players, and the fact that our guys stay here and work with Britt and Hanson and Jim and Greg, the whole crew down there. So it speaks volumes. But I think we have an excellent return to play process, and James has been here every day. He's been here every day just like everybody else. It's just now it's his opportunity to get back out there.
All right.
All right, thank you.